Okay, komm zurück in Stanleys Geschichte. Er lebt wieder. Immerhin. Die Luftballons sind noch da.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ich glaube, ich muss doch noch mal den Eimer mitnehmen. Ich möchte gern mal woanders hin. Irgendwie ist das
When Stanley
langweilig.
came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Oh. Jetzt fängt das wieder alles von vorne an. Lots of boxes. There's something to do with there somewhere. This is some kind of game. Okay. Oh, da kommen wir ja direkt
Stanley
rein.
stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Oh,
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
oh. Und was passiert jetzt? Jetzt können wir wieder da rein. Oh, schön. Konnten wir da die ganze Zeit schon rein? Bloß ich habe mich falsch bewegt. Natürlich auch eine Möglichkeit. Okay. Mal sehen, wie lange wir jetzt nach oben fahren. Wahrscheinlich kommen wir nie irgendwo an. Ein Fahrstuhl ohne Funktion. Ein Aufzug.
Nothing but mellotron.
Ich komme nie irgendwo an. Wenn wir auf den Knopf drücken, sind wir wieder an derselben Stelle. Ja. Ah, okay.
The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Could he really be all alone? This was too much for Stanley to take. Too much for any man to take. He fell to his knees, bursting into half moans, half sobs, the guttural retching of life from a man denied any hope, any reason to keep going. Here on the floor he lay prone, paralyzed by fear for nearly a full hour. But when at last he began to move about and survey the situation, he found a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could it mean? Was it a sign of hope for Stanley's future? Alas, it was not. For although this keypad guarded the terrible secret of Stanley's past, it had been assigned a 4-digit code so devious and so random that no man could ever hope to guess it. 2845. Statistically, nearly impossible to guess blindly, ever. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Irgendwie langweilt mich das jetzt, wenn ich immer dasselbe machen muss. Irgendwie lande ich ja wieder da, wo ich gar nicht hin will. Eigentlich. Oh, ja, jetzt lodet. Achso, das hat er vorhin auch gemacht, oder? Macht er immer.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Escape, da sterben wir wieder. Oh. Eine Endlosschleife.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Irgendwie so ganz woanders.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No.
Okay.
He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Ich möchte gern woanders
But here
hin.
was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the... blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Okay.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Okay, wieder von vorn.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ich will nicht mehr in den Meeting Room.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Immerhin, die Story hat sich insofern schon geändert. Es wurde erzählt, dass gesagt, dass sich die Geschichte kein bisschen geändert hat. Nee, da habe ich jetzt keinen Bock mehr drauf. Komm her, der Eimer.
Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
Ups.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room. And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
So, jetzt nehmen wir mal den Aufzug nach unten. Mal sehen, wo wir jetzt landen.
Oh, good Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually.
Okay.
You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much.
Hello, baby.
It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
Ja. Schon wieder sein Computer.
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
Das hatten wir auch schon mal mit dem Eimer. Aber
Now,
das...
this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue? Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers. Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
Muss ja auf etwas verzichten. Worauf?
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer. I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree? Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready. Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The Broom Closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and...
Jetzt ist die Maschine explodiert. Auweia.
bucket destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
Okay, danke fürs Anschauen. Wir machen im nächsten Video weiter. Tschüss.